Hi, John here. In this video I will talk about if you need to target a super specifically, right? Like do a laser targeting to get a great results on Facebook, or if you can actually go like super broad. Okay, so last month you probably seen that Facebook is kind of like a shaving off, these like interest options, right? When you want to target. And well, what I really seen, the work, in the past, in last months, definitely in 2023 and 2022 with, well, my own campaigns, right? And we spent like millions of dollars, last year for Facebook. And we've seen that what really works well is like going pretty much broad, right? And actually, what we try to do a lot is kind of like just to use like simple interest to kind of like steer Facebook in the right direction, and then actually make the ad to do a lot of work, right? Basically to kind of like speak to that right audience, right? I will just show you on my computer what I mean by kind of like a steering with like a little interest. Okay, so let's just check it on my computer here. Okay, so this is one of my actual ad accounts for agency, and basically I was just running leads here. And the way how we actually target, right, these days is that first we either combine, lookalike audience together with broad audience, or we just go broad. And we try to kind of like steer the direction with like some specific broad interest, and then let the creative itself, to basically speak to the right people. So for example, what I would do, even if it's like a higher, like estimate audience size, I would still, for example, go with like some, let's say that you are going after, I don't know, like cars, right? So I would do like a driving, and that itself would be like a, still like 18, million people, and I would still go with it, right? Because that creative itself will be kind of like enough to basically still talk to those right people, right? And then basically, take their attention and send them to website. And basically Facebook, like more data it gets, even if it's getting basically like partial data, right? Because their tracking is very bad these days. It's still kind of like optimized, because a lot of people, after basically Apple attacked Facebook, and killed their tracking, expected that the Facebook conversion rate will just like completely tank, and they will not be able to actually run any ads profitably because Facebook is blind. But for some reason, it looks like that they are still kind of like working very well, right, when it comes to targeting and optimization. So even with like the bad data, Facebook still is able to optimize, right? And basically, the way how Facebook, targeting works is that you might see here, for example, 22 million people, right? And this is not actually who will be at the end of the day targeting. It doesn't matter if you have audience with like a million people, 2 million people, 3 million people, 10 million people. What will really happen is that for every ad set, Facebook always pick a pool of people, right? That is like small, right? So let's say that you have $10 budget, right? So it will just pick a pool of people of like 50,000. And then the one specific ad set is constantly targeting the one specific pool of people, right? So you are basically not going after like 22 million of people, you are basically going after like 50,000, and the ad set is constantly going, around these people. So it doesn't really even matter, that you are having like a huge estimated audience size, because Facebook is anyway looking on specific, small group of people. And that's why, for example, even works, right, that you, for example, duplicate ad sets at work, even when they have like completely same setup when it comes to targeting, because anyway, that each ad set is anyway locked on different type of group, right? So basically, again, none of them is actually targeting same people, because all of them have like a different pool of people locked in. So this is what we do with, for example, those broad ad sets, and or sometimes just, for example, we take like a, let's say, lookalike audience, right? So we have here like lookalike audience of 2% of people, and we have estimated size of 2,300,000. So you can either go with that, right? Or you can, for example, mix it, right? So let's say that you will mix automobiles, right? For example, when I'm using lookalike audience, I want to use those interests like as broad as possible, right? Because lookalike audience already like a very, like a specific. So if I want to mix it with something like with like some interest, I just want to give it like very broad interest that literally will just tell Facebook, okay, go in direction of pets, or go in direction of car owners, or go in direction of like a like I don't know, like people who like discounts, right, or something like that, right? So this is what I would do, you know, when, for example, I really want to like properly target. But what I would not do is that I would not really try to like go like super laser target, right? So let's say that we have automobiles, and here we'll also like add, I don't know, like dogs, right? So we are already at like 500, right? Because in the past you were trying to run around like 500 like 2 years, 3 years ago, because it still made sense. But I think these days it's way better to just like give it as like a huge, you know, that audience size, and just try to like make Facebook itself look on these different pools and promote to them, and have creative that is very specific and specifically talk, you know, to that specific group of people, you know, with your offer that basically you create for Facebook. So yeah, I would just not really, you know, try to even like you know, let's say fourth, you know, keep going, because I mean, I think like targeting 200, it's pretty like dangerous. I mean, some people will say that it works, it might work for them, it doesn't work for me, especially when I want to target long term, right? Because usually when one ad set starts working, sometimes these ad sets, you know, once they are profitable, I just let them run for weeks, right? Some even months. So that's why I even need to have like that larger estimated size, right? Because that way Facebook can actually pick like bigger pools of people and really like let it ad sets run there for like a long time. Because how else you would even explain that, for example, you have ad set with like a $10 budget, right? Targeting, for example, you know, like a audience of size like a 2,300,000, and that ad set has actually frequency like 8. Like that would mean that you actually targeted like 2,300,000 people 8 times already with like $10 budget in like 2 months, which is like absolutely impossible, right? Because CPMs are actually extremely expensive. So that means that Facebook is always locking on specific groups of people and trying to, you know, send those ads, you know, there. So it's not really targeting like everybody in that estimated size audience, but only pools of people, like small pools of people. So I hope this video helped, and really, if you can, just try to always go with like a broader audience, or just mix it with those lookalikes. I think mixing it with lookalikes is like a easiest thing, that, and you will be sure that you are actually targeting the right people, right? Because if you have a lookalike flow of buyers and you will just mix it with something that really says Facebook, okay, so go after this category of people, or this interest of people, and I think it's like this is the easiest way how to actually target and keep it kind of like safe and not risky. So I hope you like this video, and if you still didn't download my book, it's actually free. It's ebook, Facebook Ad Launch Guide for e-commerce, and I wrote it for e-commerce owners, right? So if you, for example, want to launch ads, and you don't want to like do all these mistakes, and you want to learn like advanced stuff, you know, how we actually spend $50,000 per day, like step by step, you know, or want to actually learn our, you know, for example, optimization rules, that we always create them specifically for each product, because each product has different price, you know, different, for example, break even, and we also always need to create specific rules manually for the product, right? And it's also for people that work with, for example, agencies and or freelancers, and you want to kind of like know if these people that you are actually paying, you know, every month are actually doing a great job, and they are not kind of like a average or taking it easy, right? So definitely download that book, and if you like my videos and would like to see more of them, definitely click on that subscribe button and bell, and I will see you in my tomorrow video. So thank you very much and have a great day. Bye.